The alien station floated in the dark silence of space, its tall walls built from steel and glowing blue lines that pulsed like veins. Inside its cold hallways, the echo of heavy boots filled the air. Alien guards, tall with scaled skin and hard eyes, marched with pride. They carried energy spears and their voices were loud as they laughed. In the middle of this place stood strange cages made of glowing light. Inside those cages were small human children, their faces pale, their eyes wide with fear. They clung to each other and whispered in weak voices. Their tiny hands reached through the bars, but no one came close. The aliens thought it was a prize, a small trophy of war. They did not understand what they had taken. One guard smirked and said, "Fragile creatures, they cry too much." His companion laughed. "The Empire will study them. These little ones are no different than animals." The laughter carried through the hall like a cruel song. They believed no one would dare challenge them, especially not humans. For in their records, humans were called reckless but weak, useful only for labor and experiments. The aliens thought themselves safe, but the silence around them was already breaking. At the far end of the hall, the heavy doors opened with a metallic groan. A human soldier stepped inside. His uniform was dark, his boots heavy, his eyes sharp like fire. His face did not move. His lips did not tremble. He looked at the cages, at the children pressing against the bars, and his chest grew tight. For a long moment he said nothing, and his silence made the aliens shift uncomfortably. One of the officers sneered. "You should bow, human. You have entered the heart of the Empire," another said with a grin. "You came for the little ones. Too late. They are ours now." The soldier did not answer. He walked closer, every step echoing like thunder in the empty hall. The children looked at him with hope, their voices shaking as they whispered, "Please, save us." The soldier's jaw tightened, his fists clenched at his side. He stopped only a few steps from the cages. His eyes met the frightened faces, and his voice came out low. "Why are they here?" The aliens laughed again, one slamming his spear against the floor. "Because we can. They will be studied, tested, taken apart. Humans are a weak species. No one will protect them." The hall grew colder. Silence stretched between the words. The soldier's eyes darkened, and when he finally spoke again, his voice carried the weight of storms. "You imprisoned children." His tone was not a question, it was a curse. The aliens shifted uneasily now, for something in his voice did not sound weak, it sounded like a promise. A younger alien tried to boast, his voice loud. "What will you do, human? You are alone." His laugh was nervous, his tail flicking as if betraying his fear. The soldier stepped closer until his shadow fell across the cages. The children clung to the bars, their small eyes locked on him. "Listen to me," he said. Quietly, his voice steady as iron. "You have no idea what you've done." The aliens barked out more laughter, trying to cover their unease. One guard said, "Do not try to frighten us. Your kind is powerless here." Another added, "These halls are strong and no fleet dares to come this close." Yet the air began to hum, a distant vibration that none of them could ignore. The soldier turned his head slightly, as if hearing a call only he could understand. His lips curved into the smallest hint of a smile, but it was not of joy. It was of warning. The youngest child whispered from behind the bars, "They hurt us. Don't let them take us." The soldier's hand touched the edge of the cage, the glowing light sparking against his glove. He looked at the child and said, "They won't." His voice was soft but carried strength. The aliens, for the first time, felt something crawling through their pride. Fear. One officer stepped back, his voice cracking. "What is coming?" Another hissed, "Silence, do not let him shake you." But the hum grew louder, the floor trembling beneath their boots. The alien commander shouted, "Shields up! Something approaches!" Yet the soldier stood calmly, not moving, not blinking. His eyes remained fixed on the cages, on the children he swore would not remain prisoners. The silence of space broke with the thunder of engines. Massive shadows moved across the stars outside. Human warships appeared one by one, their hulls dark, their weapons armed. They did not announce themselves, they did not send a message. They only drew closer, filling the alien station with a sense of doom. The guards who had laughed before now felt their legs weaken. Their hands tightened on their spears, but their hearts sank. The soldier finally looked back at them. His words cut through the panic. "You touched what you should never touch. You thought they were weak. You thought they were alone." He stepped back from the cage, his voice rising. "But humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget." The commander tried to shout orders, but his voice broke as the station shook with the power of the human fleet. The children cried out, but now their tears were mixed with hope. The soldier raised his hand, signaling silently. And in that moment the aliens knew they had crossed a line they could never return from. They had imprisoned human children, and the price for that mistake would be written in fire across the stars. The soldier's final words echoed in the hall, like a hammer striking stone. "This is the beginning of your end." The hall was filled with an uneasy silence. The cages glowed faintly, holding the frightened children. Their soft whispers carried through the air, weak but steady. "Will he save us?" one small voice asked. "He looks strong," another whispered. Their eyes were locked on the human soldier, the only figure who had not bowed to the alien guards. He stood firm, his shadow stretching across the floor. The aliens tried to laugh, but their voices cracked. One guard leaned toward another and muttered, "Why does he not speak? Why does he just stare?" His companion shrugged, but his grip tightened on the spear he carried. The human's silence was heavier than any weapon. It pressed against their pride, making their scales prickle. Finally, an alien officer stepped forward, his armor shining under the blue lights. "You are alone, human," he said sharply. "Your fleet will not dare to come here. Your kind is weak. These children belong to us now." The soldier turned his head slowly, his eyes like dark fire. He said nothing, but his gaze made the officer falter. The children pressed closer to the glowing bars. "Please, sir, don't let them take us," one girl cried softly. Her tears ran down her cheeks. The soldier's jaw tightened, his hand flexed by his side. He spoke for the first time in a low, steady voice. "No one touches them again." The aliens chuckled nervously. One guard tried to hide his unease. "You make threats, but you cannot act," another added. "You are only one, and we are many." Yet their words trembled as they left their lips. The air itself felt charged. The soldier had not moved, yet his presence alone filled the hall with fear. Suddenly, a faint vibration shook the floor. The walls hummed. Alien eyes widened as scanners flashed with warning. A voice from the control deck shouted over the intercom, "Unidentified ships approaching fast." Panic spread among the guards. The officer snapped, "Hold your ground!" But his tail twitched nervously. The soldier finally spoke again. His voice was calm. "They are here." The aliens stared at him, confusion and fear mixing in their faces. "Who is here?" one demanded. The soldier stepped closer to the cages, his hand brushing against the glowing barrier. Sparks jumped at his touch, but he did not flinch. "The ones who protect them," he said, his eyes on the children. The children's whispers grew louder, hope blooming in their voices. "It's our people, isn't it? They came for us." The soldier nodded once. His silence carried more power than any promise. Outside the station, shadows stretched across the stars. Giant human warships appeared one after another, their dark hulls blotting out the light. No signals were sent, no words of peace were offered. They moved with a quiet fury that made even the bravest alien soldier tremble. The aliens inside felt their pride cracking. They had mocked humanity, but now they saw what it meant to provoke them. The alien commander stormed into the hall, his armor heavy and his voice filled with anger. "What have you done, human? You dare bring war to this station?" The soldier turned slowly. His eyes were cold, his voice was low, but every word cut like a blade. "You brought this war when you touched the children." The commander's throat tightened, but he forced out a laugh. "Do you think we fear your kind? We have armies, fleets, empires that span stars." The soldier stepped forward, his boots echoing, his words dropped like thunder. "And yet you fear me now." The guards raised their weapons, but their hands shook. The children cried out, "Don't let them hurt him." The soldier raised his hand slightly and the guards froze, not from force, but from dread. Something about him told them that if they struck first, none of them would leave alive. A sudden crash of alarms filled the hall. Red lights flashed. As the station shook, the fleet outside had locked weapons. Alien officers shouted orders, scrambling to activate defenses, but the system was too slow. The human ships had come too close, too fast. The commander turned to the soldier, his voice desperate now. "Call them back, stop this madness." The soldier's lips curled into the faintest trace of a smile. "Madness," he said quietly. "You have not yet seen madness, but you will. If a single child is harmed again—" The children's eyes widened, their fear now mixing with awe. One whispered, "He's not afraid of them." Another said, "He's not afraid of anything." The alien guards looked at each other, their pride stripped away. For the first time they realized the danger they had brought upon themselves. The commander tried again, his voice shaking. "We can return them, take the children, leave, spare us this war." The soldier's eyes narrowed. He stepped back toward the cages, placing his hand firmly on the barrier. "Return them, yes, but know this. If you ever touch them again, if you even think of harming a human child, your empire will not survive the night." His words were not loud, but they echoed through the hall, stronger than any roar. The aliens felt their knees weaken. The children pressed closer, their fear melting into relief, for in that moment they knew they were not alone. Outside, the human fleet hovered like shadows of doom, their cannons glowing faintly, ready to strike. Inside, the silence was heavy, broken only by the sound of trembling breaths. The soldier stood tall, the children safe behind him, and the aliens finally understood the truth. They had thought humans weak, but in their arrogance they had awakened a fury that would haunt them forever. And in that silence, one line from the soldier's lips etched itself into every alien's memory. "Humanity may forgive many things, but never this." The hall shook again as the alarm screamed louder. The red glow of warning lights painted every alien face with fear. The children huddled together inside the glowing cages, their whispers like trembling prayers. "Is this the end?" one boy asked softly. The human soldier did not move. His eyes stayed fixed on the alien commander, his voice steady as stone. "You still have a choice," he said. "Release them now, or face what comes next." The commander's tail flicked nervously. He tried to stand tall, but his voice cracked. "You think you can frighten us with your empty words? You think your ships outside are enough to bring down the empire?" The soldier stepped closer, every boot step heavy in the silent hall. He leaned in just enough for his voice to cut through. "The commander's pride, it is not the ships you should fear, it is what follows them." The guards exchanged nervous glances. One whispered, "He speaks as if more is coming." Another shook his head, but his grip on his spear was trembling. The soldier turned from the commander and looked at the children. His hand brushed against the glowing barrier of the cage. Sparks danced across his glove. His voice softened. "You are safe now." A girl reached out, her small hand nearly touching. "Will we go home?" she asked. The soldier's jaw tightened. "Yes, you will," he promised. Behind him, the aliens shifted uneasily. Their pride was cracking under the weight of his calm. Suddenly, the floor trembled harder. The sound of massive cannons charging echoed through the walls. The aliens' scanners showed human warships moving into formation. One officer shouted in panic, "They are locking weapons. They are ready to fire." The commander barked back, "Hold positions. They will not dare." Yet his voice betrayed doubt. The soldier finally turned back to them, his voice sharp. "Dare," he repeated. "You still believe they are here to bargain. They did not come to negotiate. They came because you touched what you should never touch." The commander's face tightened. "We will not bow. We are the Empire. We will—" He stopped as the floor beneath them shook violently. The sound of metal tearing filled the air. One guard screamed, "They have boarded!" The hall doors burst open with a blast of smoke and fire. Figures in black armor stormed inside. Their helmets covered their faces, their rifles glowing with blue fire. The human marines moved with perfect precision, cold and silent. The alien guards raised their weapons, but their hands shook too much to aim. The first Marine spoke through a voice filter, his tone deep and merciless. "Protect the children." The soldier nodded, stepping aside as his people filled the hall. The aliens backed away, their pride now shattered completely. The commander raised his hands in surrender, his voice breaking, "Wait, we will release them. Take them and go. Spare the station." The soldier's eyes narrowed. His answer came low. "You thought they were weak. You thought we were blind. Now you will learn what it means to touch a human child." The Marines spread out, some breaking the cages open with precise blasts. The glowing barriers shattered, and the children rushed out. Tears streamed down their faces as they clung to the soldier. He knelt down, his arms steady as he caught them. "You are safe," he said. "No one will hurt you again." But the hall was still shaking. Outside, the human fleet circled like wolves around prey, their cannons aimed at the station. One Marine turned to the soldier. "Orders, sir." The soldier looked at the trembling aliens, his face unreadable. The commander fell to his knees. "Mercy," he begged. "Show mercy." The soldier's silence stretched. His eyes darkened. He spoke at last. "Mercy is not mine to give. Mercy belongs to them." He gestured toward the children, now gathered safely at his side. The aliens' eyes widened. They realized their fate was no longer in their own hands. One boy stepped forward, his small voice trembling. "Don't kill them. Just take us home." The soldier looked down at him, then back at the Marines. His voice was calm but final. "Stand down." The Marines lowered their weapons. The alien commander collapsed in relief, gasping, but the soldier stepped closer, his shadow falling over the aliens. His voice dropped to a cold whisper. "You live. Only because they asked it, remember this. If even one more child is touched, there will be no station left, no empire left, only ash across the stars." The aliens trembled. The children clung to him tighter. The Marines formed a protective circle and began leading them out. The hall was silent, except for the echo of "Boots on steel," the commander whispered to himself, his pride broken. "We thought they were weak." The soldier stopped at the door and turned one last time. His words cut through the air like a blade. "You imprisoned children. That was your greatest mistake. It will not be forgiven. It will not be forgotten." Then the doors closed behind him, leaving the aliens in silence. Outside, the human fleet pulled back slowly, carrying the rescued children to safety. But the shadow of their presence lingered in the stars. The aliens knew they had escaped death only by a thread, and in their trembling hearts a new truth was carved forever. Humanity's wrath was not to be tested. Humanity's fury was endless. When it came to protecting their young, the station groaned as if it carried the weight of 1,000 storms. The air smelled of smoke and metal. The children had been freed, but the tension had not lifted. Human Marines moved like shadows, rifles glowing faintly. They escorted the children through the steel corridors. The soldier walked at the center, his eyes sharp, his jaw set. Every step he took felt like thunder against the floor. Behind them, the alien commander followed, his voice broken. "We have done as you asked. We release them. Spare this place. We will not touch humans again." The soldier stopped suddenly, his silence pressing harder than any weapon. He turned, his eyes burning through the commander's lies. "Do you think I believe you?" he asked coldly. The commander swallowed hard, his scaled hands shaking. "We swear it." One of the children tugged on the soldier's arm. "Don't trust them. They hurt us. They will do it again." The hall grew colder with those words. The soldier leaned down, his voice low but steady. "They will not touch you again, I promise." He stood towering over the aliens. His presence alone made the guards step back. The corridor shook as another alarm blared. A voice crackled through the intercom. "Enemy reinforcements inbound. Multiple ships approaching fast." Alien officers shouted orders, trying to regroup. The commander's voice cracked with panic. "It is our fleet. They come to save us." But the fear in his tone betrayed him. He knew his own fleet might not be enough. The soldier turned. "To the Marines, protect the children," he ordered. His voice was calm but iron-sharp. The Marines formed a wall around the little ones, leading them toward the docks. The soldier stayed behind, his eyes never leaving the alien commander. "You called for reinforcements," he said. "You thought they would save you." The commander tried to defend himself. "We had no choice. They will not let this stand." The soldier took a step closer, his voice cold enough to freeze the air. "Then watch what happens when your fleet meets ours." Outside, the black void filled with light. Dozens of alien warships appeared, their engines roaring. They spread like vultures around the station, their weapons charged, ready to fire. On the other side, the human fleet shifted silently, massive ships forming a wall of steel. The stars disappeared behind their dark hulls. The silence before battle was heavy. Inside the station, the alien guards looked at each other with dread. One whispered, "They will fight. This station will burn." Another muttered, "The Empire will win." But his voice cracked on the last word. The children pressed close. "To the Marines, are we going to die?" one boy asked. The soldier turned, his voice steady. "No, you will live. They will not harm you again." The station rocked violently as the first warning shots lit the void. Alien commanders barked through the comms, ordering their fleet to strike. Yet the humans did not answer. Their ships did not move. They only waited, heavy and silent. The soldier raised his hand as if signaling to the void itself. His lips moved. Now, in the next breath, the black sky erupted. Human cannons roared, their beams tearing across the alien fleet. One ship shattered into fire, then another. Explosions lit the stars. The alien fleet panicked. Their formation broke. Their confidence crumbled. Inside the station, the commander screamed, "Hold formation! Fight back!" But his voice was drowned by the sounds of destruction outside. The soldier walked forward slowly, his boots steady even as the ground shook. He stood so close to the alien commander that the scaled warrior could see the fire burning in his eyes. "You called them," the soldier said, his tone sharp as a blade. "You thought they would protect you. Instead, they will die with you." The commander trembled. We will surrender. Tell them to stop." The soldier's face did not change. He looked back toward the children, their small faces shining with fear and hope. His voice lowered. "You don't get to ask for mercy. Not from me. Not after what you did." The battle outside raged. Alien ships exploded like broken glass against the dark. The humans pressed forward, unstoppable. The station trembled with every blast. Inside, guards threw down their weapons, some kneeling, some fleeing. The commander fell to his knees. "Spare us, please. We cannot fight this." The soldier leaned closer, his voice cold. "You cannot fight it because you do not understand it. You thought humanity was weak, but you never understood what happens when we protect our children." The commander's eyes widened, his body shaking. He whispered, What are you? The soldier's answer was simple, his voice low but heavy with truth. Human. The children were rushed into a waiting shuttle, Marines securing every corner. The engines roared as the doors sealed. The soldier entered last, but before, stepping inside, he turned once more to the broken aliens. His voice carried like thunder. This is your warning. It will be your last. The shuttle lifted, the children safe inside. Outside, the human fleet pulled back slowly. Their message, already written in fire across the stars, the alien fleet lay in ruins, their pride shattered, their empire scarred. Inside the station, silence fell, broken only by the whispers of survivors. "We thought they were weak," one alien said, "but we have awakened something we can never control." The soldier sat among the children, one of them leaning against his arm. "We're going home, right?" she asked. His voice softened for the first time. "Yes, you are going home." The shuttle broke away from the burning station, carrying the children toward safety, and in that silence, the galaxy itself seemed to whisper the truth. Humanity may bend, but when its children are touched, it does not break. It rises, and it burns. The shuttle drifted away from the burning station. The children sat close together, their faces pale but their eyes filled with hope. The Marines stood guard, silent and alert. The soldier sat among them, his expression hard, but his hand steady, as he rested it on the shoulder of a trembling boy. "It's over," he said softly. "You are safe now." Yet deep inside he knew it was not over. Not yet. The Empire would not forget this loss, and humanity would not let the lesson end here. Through the shuttle windows, the stars lit up with the fire of wrecked alien ships. Their twisted remains spun into the void. Each explosion sent a wave of silence across the cabin. The children whispered, "They're losing, aren't they?" The soldier nodded. "They already lost the moment they touched you." His voice carried no joy, only truth. At the human fleet's command ship, a deep voice came through the comms. "Orders, sir. Do we finish them?" The Marines in the shuttle turned their eyes toward the soldier, waiting. The children looked too, their hope and fear tied to his next words. The soldier raised his head slowly, his voice sharp and steady. "No, not yet. Let them crawl back and remember this fear." The commander of the alien station, still alive, stared at the void where his fleet had been torn apart. His officers whispered, "What do we tell the Empire?" His claws dug into his palms. "We tell them the truth," he said. "We touched the wrong enemy." His pride was broken, but his voice carried the weight of defeat. The shuttle landed on the human flagship. The children were guided out, welcomed by doctors and guardians. They ran into waiting arms, their sobs filling the halls. The soldier followed slowly, his eyes scanning every corner. His voice was calm but heavy. "Make sure they rest. They have been through enough," one of the Marines asked. "And you, sir, what about you?" He gave no answer. He only looked out into the stars. Far away, in the Empire's High Council, news arrived like thunder. Reports of the destroyed fleet spread across the chamber. Alien leaders hissed in panic. "How could this happen? They are only human." Another voice answered bitterly, "They were human children. That is the difference." Silence fell as the council realized the weight of those words. Back on the human flagship, the soldier stood before the admiral. The admiral's face was stern, his eyes hard. "You did well," he said. "The children are safe." But the soldier shook his head. "It is not finished. They will try again. They cannot stand defeat, and they will not forget this shame." The admiral nodded slowly. "Then we make them remember something worse." The galaxy outside the viewport was quiet, but the silence carried tension. The alien empire gathered. Fleets calling on allies, whispering about revenge, but their whispers trembled, for in the shadows of their pride, the image of human warship still burned. The soldier's voice echoed in their memories. "You have no idea what you've done. One Of the children found the soldier alone in the observation deck. She tugged his sleeve gently. "Will they come back?" she asked. His jaw tightened, but he knelt down, his voice soft. "Maybe, but if they do, we will be waiting." The girl hugged him tightly, whispering, "Thank you for saving us." For the first time his eyes softened and he whispered back, "It is what we do." On the alien homeworld, the council called for answers. Their people demanded revenge. Soldiers marched, fleets were armed, but behind their loud voices fear gnawed at them. "If humans could do this with so little," one leader said, "what will they do when they bring everything?" The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer. The soldier prepared with his marines, weapons polished, armor shining under the U lights, one marine asked. "Will there be war?" The soldier looked at him and answered, "There already is." His voice carried no fear, only certainty. Back among the children, laughter slowly returned. They played in the safety of the flagship, but every sound was guarded by soldiers in black armor, every smile watched over by men and women who had seen what fury could unleash. Humanity's promise had been carved. Into the stars, on the alien worlds, whispers spread like fire. Merchants, workers, and soldiers alike spoke in hushed tones. The humans are not weak. The humans protect their young. The humans do not forgive. These whispers reached every corner of the empire, breaking pride, planting fear. The soldier stood once more before the window of the flagship, the stars endless before him. His voice was quiet but sharp. "This is only the beginning." Behind him the marines stood ready, and the children slept safely in the heart of the ship. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, for all now knew the truth. To touch a human child was to invite a storm that no empire could withstand. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the flagship, but no one on board felt peace. The marines stood ready, the children slept under heavy guard, and the soldier remained. By the viewport, his eyes fixed on the black void. He had seen battles before, but this was different. This time the fight was not for land or power, it was for the future of his people. The thought of children locked in cages still burned in his chest, and that fire would never fade. The admiral entered quietly, his step steady. "Reports from the Empire," he said. "Their council is divided. Some call for revenge, others whisper fear." The soldier did not turn, his voice calm but edged with steel. "Fear is not enough. They must learn respect. They must learn what happens when they cross a line." The admiral nodded slowly. "And what line is that?" The soldier finally turned, his eyes sharp. "Human children." On the alien homeworld, the council chamber was filled with chaos. Leaders shouted, "We cannot allow this insult to stand." Another hissed, "We sent a fleet and it was crushed. Do you want the same fate again?" The argument grew louder, until one old commander rose. His voice cut through the noise. "We fought many enemies, but never one like them. They are not the strongest, they are not the most advanced, but they are the most dangerous because they protect each other. They protect their young with everything they have." Silence fell as the truth sank into their pride. Meanwhile, on the flagship, the children began to recover. Doctors cared for them, and guardians gave them warmth they had lost. Yet the soldier knew their scars would remain. He visited them often, listening to their whispers. One boy looked up at him. "Why did they take us?" he asked. The soldier knelt, his voice heavy. "Because they thought you were weak, but they were wrong." The boy's eyes filled with tears. "Will they come back?" The soldier's hand rested gently on his shoulder. "If they do, we will be ready." The Empire tried to send envoys to negotiate, but no human ship welcomed them. Messages went unanswered. The humans did not want words, they wanted memory. They wanted every alien to remember the fire that burned. And their fleet, the silence was louder than any threat. The soldier himself said little, but his presence spoke for all of humanity. One night as the children slept, the alarms flared again. A small alien vessel had entered human space. It carried no weapons, only a single envoy. Trembling as he was brought before the soldier, the envoy bowed low, his voice shaking. "We bring a message from the council. We will never touch human children again. We beg you to end this conflict." The soldier's eyes narrowed. "It is not me you should beg," he said. "It is them." He pointed to the sleeping children beyond the glass wall. The envoy froze, speechless. The admiral stepped forward. "Leave your words and go. If your people break this promise, we will not send warnings again." The envoy bowed lower, leaving as fast as his legs could carry him, his face pale, his body trembling. Back in the council chambers, the message was delivered. The leaders argued again, but their fear grew deeper. Stories spread quickly across the empire, stories of human fleets, of silent soldiers, of children who carried more protection than any crown. The common people whispered, "Do not touch them, do not provoke them, their fury is endless." The soldier sat once more in the observation deck, a girl sitting beside him. She looked out at the stars, her voice small. "They will never hurt us again, right?" He did not answer at once. He watched the void, endless and cold. Finally he said, "They might try, but they will remember this fear. They will remember us." The girl leaned against him and whispered, "I'm not afraid anymore." For the first time his lips curved slightly. "Good," he said. The human fleet slowly withdrew from the Empire's borders, leaving behind wreckage and memory. The galaxy buzzed with whispers of what had happened. Merchants, soldiers, and rulers alike told the story in fear. "The aliens imprisoned human children," they said, "and the humans came." The words traveled faster than any fleet, carving terror into every heart. The admiral stood beside the soldier one last time. "You know what we did here, don't you?" he asked. The soldier's voice was steady. "We taught them. We gave them one lesson. If they forget, we will teach them again." The admiral nodded. "And the children?" "Dio." The soldier's gaze softened as he looked toward them. "They are safe. That is all that matters." On the alien worlds, mothers held their young tighter, fathers whispered warnings, and soldiers lowered their voices when speaking of humans. An empire built on arrogance now trembled under memory. They had learned the cost of their pride. As the flagship drifted into friendly space, the children slept without fear for the first time. The soldier watched them in silence, his promise still burning in his chest. If ever again a human child was taken, the stars themselves would shake with fury, for humanity may forgive insults. It may endure wounds, but it would never forgive harm to its young. And across the galaxy a legend was born. A warning carried in every shadow, whispered in every hall, a single truth carved into fear. Humanity's wrath is endless when its children are threatened